It's your girl, Nicole Ryan with Lana Solutions, your finance advocate. It's Debt Diva. And if you've watched any of my shows by now, you know that we talk a lot about finances, financial services, debt freedom, how to manage money, and so much more. So if this is your first time seeing the show, I'm Nicole Ryan, and I own a company called Lana Solutions, and we have been helping people with debt elimination and credit education for over 24 years if I include the corporate sector. So a little over 15 years solo Lana Solutions. And with that being said, I've been able to partner up with so many nonprofits here in Omaha, Nebraska, and help you, the consumer, and give you the options that you need and deserve to weather some of the storms of finances. So with that being said, today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about debt. What is debt? How to manage debt? And most of all, debt elimination. So, I don't like to leave anything up for chance. A good teacher taught me a long time ago not to ever assume who's in your audience. So I will not. So I'm going to start with basics. Debt. Debt is money that is owed by one party to another. And it can also refer to the state of owing money. Now, debt can be used for large purchases or even small purchases. And debt doesn't always mean you're in credit card debt. I come across a lot of different customers that have all types of debt. Whether it is debt from a law firm, from attorneys that had to help you with the case. There can be unemployment debt, where you were overpaid unemployment benefits, or you received unemployment benefits maybe you shouldn't have received. They were miscalculated incorrectly. There is construction contract debt, where you may have had, and this isn't every case, this is normally some of my small businesses, where you paid contractors to have a particular job done and now you owe X amount of dollars. Even if it is credit card debt, mortgage debt, furniture loan debt, at the end of the day it's debt, right? It's money owed that should be paid back if and when you have the clarity to pay it back. So when you take the time and you think about the debt that you have, it's not just a number, but it is also referred to when it becomes a financial constraint, like a burden, something that's heavy, almost like a yoke. They have some funny pictures and images out there. If you ever go to Google and type in debt, you'll see the chain. You'll see the chain hanging with like a big heavy ball where they're dragging it around. You'll see a picture of the little animated figures where they lift the guy or the girl upside down with his pockets and all his change pouring out onto the ground. You know, I can laugh and make fun of it, but if it's something that you're actually going through, there is nothing funny about it. Now, if you're anything like me and you're constantly trying to study yourself approved, I've even researched debt from a Greek and a Hebrew standpoint, where it even talks about debt to the point of sin in a different way though. So my biggest thing with debt is, before you get into debt, just be conscious of what you're signing into. Because a lot of us are signing these contracts and we are not even certain how we're paying the debt back. I see a lot of this with student loan debt, and thank goodness that they finally have disclaimers and education in place now before they even give you the monies. So with student loan debt, they'll make you actually go through line item upon line item and read, even though a lot of times we still won't read it. They kind of have it set up now where you can't even bypass the material until you at least click into it and act as if you're reading it. And then you get to sign your life away. So when you're thinking of debt, even if you currently have debt, whether it's delinquent debt, if it's in good standing debt, it's still debt. It's still money that you owed. And if we can change the way we look at it versus I'm in debt, it's just always going to be around, which it has for many families, and that's just the way we live. So whether it's credit card debt or just regular debt, it's one of those things where it's like it should be eliminated, and instead of trying to pay it off to get more debt, let's look into ways of how we can actually not only eliminate it, but also manage it. So when you go into debt elimination, and like I've said on so many shows, time and time again, I know at this point that I'm really trying to drive home, it's not the fact that you have the debt. I think the biggest thing is, do you know and understand what type of debt you have so that you can get to the root of it and take care of it? And in order to do that, instead of kind of mushing everything together and saying, oh, I have $100,000 worth of debt, or I have $10,000 worth of debt, or some of us don't even know what that number is, just one at a time. And this is that snowball plan when you're eliminating debt. Just start with one, and normally start with the smallest one, and then focus, because you may have a $8,000 credit card or a $2,000 bill or a $500 bill, but I assure you there's probably a $40 one or a $100 or $200 one. Focus, laser focus on that one account and focus on eliminating that one, and then you can move to the other 20. They talk about the average household has about 7 credit cards. And so just focus on one, and focus on the smallest one. And if you're in a position where you don't have a surplus to even make the minimum payment and things have gotten into collections, still focus on that one. And then when you get the phone calls and you get the letters in the mail, you can honestly say, hey, I'm paying off my debt one at a time. And if they don't understand that, try not to get worried and wrapped up in that, but ask them what type of financial hardships they have available to help you get their debt eliminated too. But your focus, especially if you're already in collections and everything is past due and there's no surplus to pay it all, focus on one at a time. They knew when they approved you, you couldn't pay it all up front. So you have to keep that in mind. But you do have to chip away one at a time. And if you are still in good standing, instead of using that snowball plan for debt elimination, I would recommend that you use the avalanche plan. So the avalanche plan is going to start with those credit cards that or loans that have the highest interest, because you know those are the ones that are getting more of your money than what you're paying off, right? So you have the highest interest at the top, you continue to make your minimum payments, and you start pouring everything you have, all extra monies, into eliminating that debt one at a time, just like that snowball plan. But let me back up and rewind. You can't start the snowball plan or the avalanche plan if you don't know what you have. So make sure you get your expense tracker to even create the budget. You line up all that debt one by one, and you figure out what you owe, who you owe, the interest rate, the minimum payment, the high card balance, how much you do have available to spend, and then you can figure out how to pay off one at a time. So whether you use snowball plan, which you can Google, or the avalanche plan, you first have to set up that expense tracker so you can go through each one and see exactly what you have. And then don't forget your debt to income ratio. You need to know how much income is coming in and going out. So once you subtract those expenses from that income, it'll let you know if you have a surplus or a deficit. Now the numbers don't lie. Sometimes we'd like them to, but they're not lying. They're telling you the truth about your traditional expenses. And I know this might be foreign territory, but only 25% of that housing expense should be coming out of your overall income monthly. So a lot of us are out there and we're house poor, and we need to sit down and have that family meeting and talk about how you're either going to turn things around, or you're either going to sell the home, or if you're renting, start looking for a place that's more affordable. You're either going to move towards promotion and more earned income, right? Trusting that you can stretch out and do other things. But if that's not you, you're making the money you like to make, you like where you're working, you're not looking for any extra, you're going to have to cut back and adjust. Then you can figure out if you want to work that snowball plan or that avalanche plan, okay? So the debt's there. We know what debt is, right? Let's keep it simple. You owe. But what do you owe? Who do you owe, right? And then figure out how you're going to pay it, one at a time. And that's going to assist you with that debt elimination. So you're getting debt eliminated, right? You're probably currently managing debt pretty good. Because one thing I've found with debt management, and I get this from my Dave Ramsey 101, one thing I appreciate about Dave Ramsey, and if you're not familiar with Dave Ramsey, he's someone you should follow on social media. And you don't have to take all of his advice. I have found that what works for you and your household, those are the bits and pieces that you should grab and hold on to educate yourself so that you do know better so you can do better. But you can go to DaveRamseySolutions.com for free, and he has a lot of fun tools you can use to manage your money. And he has vetted a lot of experts that you can use, even right here in Omaha, Nebraska. So a lot of people would like to get life insurance and don't have life insurance because they don't know where to go and they don't know who they can trust. Well, he has vetted financial advisors, coaches, and financial institutions that can help you, whether it's getting your first mortgage, right? Buying your first home, getting life insurance, or just some calculators to figure out how to pay back money. You can find all of that at DaveRamseySolutions.com. Now what I like, what he has, I'm always talking to you about expense trackers, right? And your budgeting. He has the Every Dollar app. And this is a budgeting app. And it is so phenomenal. And you don't have to upgrade and pay, but you can upgrade if you want to tap into a lot of its perks. But just the regular one is flipping. It's so cool, you guys, because all you do is put in all your income and all your expenses, and it helps you budget and manage the debt that you have. And there's another app out there that a lot of people don't know about. It's a debt planner app. And you'll know it if you Google it. By the little, I think there's a little dove or a bird, and it's like all blue behind it, but it's a debt planner app, and you can Google it. And you know what I'll do? I'll make sure that our TV guys here have that link. So both of those links, so at the end of this show or during this show, they can put it up for you. And this app is so flipping cool, and it's free too. It helps you manage the debt and paying off the debt. It allows you to put in everything you owe, how much you're willing to pay each month, and it will give you a timeline of when this will be paid in full. The average American, me following Gary Cassey and some other phenomenal financial gurus like Dave Ramsey, I've learned that a lot of the stuff we're looking for to help us do better with debt management, it's already out there. And it's free. And all we have to do is watch shows like this, right? Debt Diva, and just get more information around anything that we're trying to figure out. Dave Ramsey said that the debt management piece, like people are always bragging about high credit scores, and all it really means is that you've become an expert in managing debt, right? So don't be so hard on yourself when you are stretching to have a 700 FICO score or even to make it to the 800s. The really thing it's only saying is that, yeah, credit worthiness, you are an amazing person who can borrow money and pay it back. No pun intended. I do understand that it's the way this world has functioned and works, and I need you to keep in mind not to be so hard on yourself, because even our banks need a bailout from time to time. So don't beat yourself up about where you're at, but you have to educate yourself and be able to work the plan. And then when things don't work out the way that they should, like the bank bailouts, right? Asking for money to help them with their business, don't be afraid to try and try again. And in the meantime, take basic principles and information that's been given to you right here on this show. I have given information around consumer credit counseling services for Nebraska that are free. I've talked to you about phenomenal places like Chariots for Hope, who is helping people with transportation barriers. Let's say you need a car and you're struggling right now. There are transitional facilities for people that are just looking for a place to live. I totally get it. And if you mention that you've seen me on KPAO, I'm even willing to help you for free and have a conversation with you with regards to where you're at and where you're trying to go. So just know that the resources are here. And we're here to help. And if you're not in a position, even for some of the, I've realized some of the organizations that are not nonprofit, but they are for-profit, they will sit down and talk to you for free. And that way, when you do get put in a position where you can finally pay for services, then you'll step in and you'll pay. But until you get to that point, just know that in the city of Omaha and even the surrounding areas, there are, I think I heard a number of maybe 5,500 nonprofits just here in our area and the surrounding areas here. Tap in. Tap in. And if you need help and you need some guidance and some information around it, let me know. And I will definitely, if I don't already have the answer, I will point you in the right direction. So as far as debt, we know that debt is money that's owed, right? For your debt elimination, we know that you first have to know and understand what type of debt you have, how much you owe, what's the interest rate, and then formulate a plan to either do a snowball plan, paying off smallest to largest, dumping everything into that one account that you're focused on. You're not focusing on anything else except that one account. And I've also found that you have to do this from an urgency level too. So with the snowball plan, if you have a credit card that, let's say, is $100, but then you have 6 other credit cards that range anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 or $3,000, focus on that small account. But if you are dealing with an eviction notice, a shut-off notice, these are urgencies that you have to put before everything else, you guys. And Dave Ramsey calls it the 4 walls of your home. You have got to make sure you guys can eat and you have shelter and transportation and food. That right there is most important, Because if you don't have your four walls of your home intact, you can't focus on the credit card debt. You can't focus on the buy here, pay here, whatever type of furniture or electronics, or what's the new one, Affirm? So Affirm is the entity that's been behind the buy now, pay later online services. If you've ever seen it, I think it pops up as Karma or Clara or something like that, but the bank behind it that I get to see day in and day out, because now people are trying to figure out how to pay this back. You have to know, even if you have a JC's Penney card, who is the bank behind the face of JC Penney's credit card? So you'll find out it's Synchrony Bank and Chase Bank, and you know, these cards look so pretty and fancy, and we're signing our life away, and we're not realizing at the end of the day, it's just another bank. So in your wallet, which you have all these beautiful cards because they try to make it look so fancy and beautiful, all you have is a bunch of banks in your wallet that you owe money to. And so when you're paying these banks off, that's why I said it's okay, focus one at a time, but you have got to know who you're paying, how much you owe them. Ask them for a copy of your signed contract. You know, all the little black and white, the fine text that we never read, we just sign off, please. And then you'll be able to know and understand what type of covenant you've gotten into, because that's exactly what you did when you agreed and signed your rights over for that debt that was borrowed. If I could say anything else before we wrap up today, I would say we know that debt is to owe. We know that debt elimination takes time and focus and understanding of what we have coming in, what we have going out, how we're going to pay this one item at a time, whether it's smallest to largest or highest interest to lowest interest. We know there's resources out there like DaveRamseySolutions.com or GaryCassee.com. So when we do get in a position where we can manage it and build those credit scores, we're not hard on ourselves, because we know a high credit score just means that you're good at managing debt. And we need to get to a position where we don't have debt. Did you know you can use your debit card as a credit card? You know, when you swipe it and it asks you if you want to use debit or credit, you can actually bypass it and use your debit card as a credit card. A lot of people don't realize that or know that. And that's why I'm always saying, just study yourself approved, get the wisdom behind what's going on. If you're in foreclosure, and many of you are, right here in Douglas County, I get the reports. Pump your brakes. They can modify your loan. They can set up a different payback modification. If you need help, you can call me. If you need help, I can partner you up with organizations like Omaha 100, who can give you some information, and even your own banks right here. Whoever you have your mortgage through, I assure you there's some type of modification. And this is just paying back the debt, right? Getting things taken care of. So let's take some time and let's really get an understanding of what debt is, what it really is. Owe no man anything but to love him. And if you need help, give me a call. It's Sugar on Nicole Ryan with Lana Solutions, your finance advocate. And this is Debt Diva. Until we see you next time. Signing off.